O Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. Thus, until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I engage in virtuous deeds with speech and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Now please go to the 4 Sessions Guru Yoga text, page 2. All Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in you, precious Guru Buddha. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, clear like Dharma Kaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, perfect Sambhogakaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, compassionate Nirmanakaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, the actuality of the fourth Kaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord Buddha, protector of wandering beings. All Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in you, precious Guru Buddha. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, clear like Dharma Kaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, perfect Sambhogakaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, compassionate Nirmanakaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, the actuality of the fourth Kaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord Buddha, protector of wandering beings. All Mother, sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in you, precious Guru Buddha. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord, Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, clear like Dharma Kaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord, Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, perfect Sambhogakaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord, Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, compassionate Nirmanakaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord, Buddha, protector of wandering beings. We take refuge in you, Guru, the actuality of the fourth Kaya. We supplicate you, Dharma Lord, Buddha, protector of wandering beings. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. Now, please turn to page 12 for session Guru Yoga. I respectfully pay homage with fierce and longing faith of the three types to you, the glorious Guru, Lord of the four Kayas. With my body, speech, and mind, I make offerings of all these established things, outer, inner, and other. The one who offers that which is offered and the act of offering are indivisible in essence. This being so, I make this offering of the great single taste, free from elaborations. Grant me the accomplishment of effortlessness. I lay bare the impairments and breakings of the vows of the three vehicles and rejoice in your liberating deeds. Please turn the wheel of Dharma in accordance with the capacities of those to be trained, and remain here for as long as samsara has not been emptied. I dedicate the merit accumulated in the three times to the welfare of wandering beings. I supplicate you, the Dharmakaya, great Vajradhara of the sixth family. I supplicate you, the 85 Indian Mahasiddhas. I supplicate you, Tili Pragya Bhadra. I supplicate you, Narogyana Siddhi. I supplicate you, Mapara of Loda, of the translator. I supplicate you, Mila Shepa Dorje. I supplicate you, Dao Shonu of Dakpo. I supplicate you, the three Siddhas of Kam. I supplicate you, Dorje Gyalpo of Pagdu. I supplicate you, Jason Dorje Belda. I supplicate you, Supreme Refuge, Jikten Sumgon. I supplicate you, Dharma Lord of Serkhang. I supplicate you, Kenchen Sutrim Dorje. I supplicate you, Onchen Sonam Drapa. I supplicate you, Chenga Drapa Jungne. I supplicate you, Chung O Dorje Drapa. I supplicate you, Toka Rinchen Senge. I supplicate you, Tamche Drapa Sonam. I supplicate you, Juni Dorje Rinchen. I supplicate you, Tuku Dorje Gyalpo. I supplicate you, Nirni Chuki Gyalpo. I supplicate you, Shenyen Dundru Gyalpo. I supplicate you, Rinchen Pelgi Gyal Tsen. I supplicate you, Chogyal Rinchen Pel Zang. I supplicate you, Rixin Choki Gyal Tso. I supplicate you, Gyalwang Gunga Rinchen. I supplicate you, Jason Rinchen Puncho. I supplicate you, Rinchen Nambar Gyalwang. I supplicate you, Penchen Belgi Gyalten. I supplicate you, Chole Nambar Gyalwang. I supplicate you, Sume Chogyal Puncho. I supplicate you, Dukchen Dashi Puncho. I supplicate you, Jason Konjo Rinchen. I supplicate you, Rixin Chuki Drangba. I supplicate you, Konjo Trinle Namjiao. I supplicate you, Konjo Trinle Sangpo. I supplicate you, Trinle Dondu Chujiao. I supplicate you, Konjo Tenzin Rodu. I supplicate you, Tenzin Juki Nima. I supplicate you, Kyabda Belme Gyalzen. I supplicate you, Jamyang Jogi Gyalzen. I supplicate you, Duwan Jogi Gyalzen. I supplicate you, Rinchen Tempe Zegin. I supplicate you, Gyalwan Tuje Nima. I supplicate you, Rixin Nuden Dorje. I supplicate you, Jason Jogi Lodo. I supplicate you, Gyalcho Shive Lodo. I supplicate you, Jason Dharma Karang. I supplicate you, Trisap Tenzin Tubten. I supplicate you, the Dark Bokaju. Protectors of wandering beings, I supplicate you, my kind ruined Guru. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on the rarity of the freedoms and endowments, I still squander away my life. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on impermanence and death. I still fixate on composite phenomena as permanent. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on the unmistaken nature of cause and effect. I still pervert what to adopt and what to abandon. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion. Reckless and mundane, although I meditate on the sufferings of secular existence, I still take the way to the lower realms. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I safeguard the vows of individual liberation. I still lack renunciation and the determination to be free. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on all wandering beings as my parents. I still have bias attachment to friends and aversion for enemies. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I cultivate loving kindness and compassion. I still hold on to envy and enmity. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I cultivate aspiration and action bodhicitta. I still focus only on my own welfare. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on my body as the deity's exalted form. I still cling to ordinary perception. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I have counted the mantras to be recited. I still waste away my life force. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I cultivate the samadhi of moon in the water, I still solidify things as real and substantial. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane. Although I conclude by dissolving in the subsequent stage, I still purify and confess superficially. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on my own mind as free from elaborations, I still have conceptual attitudes. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I cultivate not grasping at whatever arises. I still affix an artificial watchfulness. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on resting freely in the natural state. I still amplify artificialities. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane, although I meditate on unity beyond conceptions. I still get carried away by the masses of likes and dislikes. Look upon me from afar with eyes of compassion, reckless and mundane. I supplicate you who are my refuge and protector in this and all other lives, physician who removes the chronic diseases of samsara. Hero who vanquishes the enemies that are afflictive emotions, sun which dispels the darkness of ignorance, moon that protects from the heat of suffering, jewel which fulfills all our needs and desires. You, Guru, who are all-inclusive and all-sufficient, I supplicate you from the depths of my heart with compassion, swiftly heed me. Effortlessly bestow your blessings, grant me now and on this seat the naturally accomplished feast of the two benefits. I am endowed with both merit and devotion. Do not leave my hopes unfulfilled. Don't cast away my devotion in vain. Don't let my supplications vanish unanswered. Don't be indifferent with your compassion, refuge and protector in this life, in the intermediate state and beyond. Whatever occurs, joy or sorrow, good or bad, only you are my hope. Look upon me with eyes of compassion. You alone are my hope. earlier in this 4 sessions Guru Yoga, under the sevenfold puja, it talks about the 3 faiths. So these 3 faiths may be more helpful to think of it as when we say faith, depa, which is different, by the way, right, from the word we translate as devotion, mogu. There's depa, there's mogu. So here, when it says depa, the 3 types of faith, maybe it's more helpful to think of like when we say depa, there are 3 elements to this faith that we're talking about here. So maybe 1 faith, but there are 3 elements in this when we say faith, to have depa. And to have depa towards, right, the 3 jewels, fundamentally. To have depa towards the 3 jewels. And so in this case, the 3 jewels is embodied by Kyopa Jikten Sumgon. So one element of this faith, of this depa, it's called longing. So what is this longing? Longing to be free from the confusion and suffering of cyclic existence. So there has to be that longing. If that longing is not there, then this depa that we have towards the 3 jewels is incomplete. Then second element is simultaneously like longing to be free from confused and confused existence, from suffering. We recognize we clearly recognize the good qualities of the 3 jewels, the good qualities of Kyopa Jikten Sumgon, the good qualities of Buddha. So this is the clarity aspect, the clear aspect. Then the third element is trusting. And here, trusting in what? Interestingly, it doesn't say trust in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha to save you. Trust in the unmistaken nature of cause and effect. It's so, that this depa, this faith that you should have, this faith that you should have, right, should have these 3 elements. I respectfully pay homage with fierce and longing faith of the 3 types. These 3 types of faith. So, right, again, longing to be free from samsara. Clear about the qualities of the 3 jewels. Trusting in cause and effect. So when we trust in cause and effect, then we know, in particular here, that our longing and our clarity are the necessary cause and effect. The necessary elements for the causality to work out the way we want it to work out. On the one hand, right, knowing the faults of confused existence. On the other hand, knowing how we can rely on the 3 jewels. So all these are causes for what we want. And the more trust we have in causality in cause and effect, then the more certain it is that we will arrive at the place that we want to arrive. So now, Vajrayogini, I am Vajrayogini, Achi practice, Achi cleansing, the Achi cleansing smoke offering. So page 1, I am Vajrayogini, starting from there. I am Vajrayogini, instantaneously above my head is protector of 3 worlds, Ratna Shri, abiding naturally as a nirmana kaya, from the Bham seed syllable in my heart emanate Ram Yang Kang, that purify all the impurities and stains of the offering substances. Then the syllables Om Ahong emanate, which transform the immaculate essence of the offering substances into the nature of the elixir of primordial wisdom, turning them into substances that are agreeable to each of the types, entirely filling the limitless 3,000-fold universe. Om Ahong, Om Ahong, Om Ahong. Nama sarva tathagate bhayo bishamukebhya sarvataka ungate sabbarana hemanga gana kang soha. Nama sarva tathagate bhayo bishamukebhya sarvataka ungate sabbarana hemanga gana kang soha. Nama sarva tathagate bhayo bishamukebhya sarvataka ungate sabbarana hemanga gana kang soha. Free from the innate nature that is spontaneously present since the beginning, I invite and request the protectors of the teachings to come to this birthless, perfectly luminous secret mandala, you Dakinis who magically appear from the activity of primordial wisdom. Supreme guardians who abide by the command and oath manifest magical forms from the Dharma Dhatu, worldly and primordial wisdom emanations and retinue. With your hearts and mayas roused, please come here. From the expanse of the excellent azure space ablaze with turquoise light, specifically from the azure crack of Mule at Great Elder Sister Achina Nangza, please come here to tame all venomous enemies and obstructors, magical apparitions of elusive forms, Emerging from the sphere of primordial wisdom are the deities' exalted activities, wisdom, Samaya and magnetizing guardians of the conqueror's teachings, each according to their own type. Retinues of pacification, enrichment, magnetization, and destruction. Cries of longing yogins calling out like a dragon's roar with welcoming substances. Silk ribbons and hands beckoning, I bring forth offering clouds of cleansing smoke. An ocean of elixir due to your samayas. Come here to this place of unsullied samaya. Samaja ja hong bam ho alala ho he bhagavan akarshaya samaya Shri Goddess Lady of Space, along with your entire retinue, please be seated happily, each according to your own like. I bring forth oceans of offering clouds, both physical and visualized. With devotion I praise and pay homage, with body, speech, and mind. Here now at this place and in this supreme year, at this excellent juncture, when the planets and stars are in favorable positions, with the aspiration prayers of all majestic foe destroying Buddhas for the exhaustion of degenerative factors, may I achieve in its entirety the true meaning of this life as I make this cleansing offering. To you, deities, now let ghosts, demons, mishaps, and obstructors disperse to their own abodes, cleanse and purify obscurations and impurities. Here, with various supreme medicines that clear the afflictive emotions, finest silks, jewels, incense, and aloes wood, sandalwood, cedar wood, fragrant fir, juniper, dwarf, rhododendron, birch, and so on. All these types of fragrant and ambrosia woods, flour, butter, milk, and various types of food and drink, we make these clouds of pervading smoke of this cleansing offering for you, glorious root and lineage gurus we cleanse. For you, Idam Vajra Yogini, along with retinue, we cleanse. For you, protectors of the teachings, chief lady of space, Joki Dharma. For you, exalted activities, Dakini, wisdom Dakini, Samaya Dakini, and magnetizing Dakini. And for you, the three goddesses who devour, slay, and snatch away, we cleanse, heart-shaking mother, and raise her to the life force, wrathful red mother of exalted activities, along with retinue, along with all your assemblies of thousands of dark flesh eaters, for all you matrikas and dakinis without exception, we cleanse. For you, the powerful Lady Tashi sitting of the supreme crystal tresses of the Himalaya. For you, the goddesses of the four families, the five sisters, horn, sword, and retinue, you 12 Dharmas, along with your retinue, we cleanse, so that the Goe gods and the multitude of family guardians, the guardians of the precious teachings of the Gaju, and oceans of sworn guardians, protectors, the Samaya keeping yogins, we offer this cleansing. As this touches the deities, and as the evil of defilements from Samaya breaches, defilements from violations of vows, quarrels, filth, and demons, those coming from contact with corpses, rape, incest, infidelity, and falling of hearts, all these foul defects are cleansed, and we thus become pure in this way with this profound ritual of bathing and cleansing smoke. The guardian deities are pleased, violations and breaches are mended, all obstructive and discordant conditions are quelled, and all our wishes that accord with the Dharma are abundantly accomplished. Here now, with lofty praises to the guardian deities, glory to Choki Droma. With these outer, inner, and secret support substances, glory to Choki Droma. With these various desirable offering clouds, glory to Choki Droma. With music of devotional songs of praise, glory to Choki Droma. With mantras, mudras, and samadhi, glory to Choki Droma, superior to the pinnacle of cyclic existence. Glory to Choki Droma, brighter than the sun and moon. Glory to Choki Droma, good as wish, fulfilling jewels. Glory to Choki Droma, full like a summer lake. Glory to Choki Droma, to spread the never-waning teachings of Buddhas. Glory to Choki Droma, to guard and fulfill the ultimate accomplishment of disciples. Glory to Choki Droma. May the guardians and humans not be separated. All the excellent glories, wealth, power, and blessings of the animate and inanimate, of the environment and inhabitants in samsara and nirvana, I now bring together these enriching presences, prosperous fortunes flowing like a mountain, by the great might of all you guardians. God, the jewel of the essence teachings, increase, develop, and stabilize the holders of the teachings. For us who are unerring and our retinue, increase auspiciousness and resources in our abodes. And when we are away, repel all bandits and hostile forces, dispel harmful gossips and loss. Now and in the time to come, spontaneously bring about all these benefits. So now we continue in looking at this brief biography of Kyoba Jikten Sumgon. So His Holiness now quotes another text called The Smiling Face of the Wondrous Lotus, a collection of the life stories of Indian Panditas. Again, this is not something composed by Drikung people. Other traditions wrote this. When Jikten Sumgon and Sanjay Untun of Gyama were arranging the invitation of Kache Panchen. Kache Panchen, we already encountered. Yesterday we talked about him. Shakya Sri Bhadra. Here he is called Kache Panchen, meaning the great Pandita. Pan is Pandita. Pandita is a term that roughly translates to scholar, but I think we call people scholars to insult them these days. So this is not scholar in that sense, Especially like even in Buddhist community, that word scholar is almost like, oh, they don't practice. No, it doesn't have this meaning. Pandita, this great Pandita, Shakya Sri Bhadra, was knowledgeable in the Dharma. All aspects of Dharma, especially what we might call systematic philosophy, which Buddha himself, I'm very sure he did not teach that way. But as the tradition evolves, grows up, meets other people, so to say, you have to develop these aspects, Of course, sometimes the development of these aspects goes so far until it's lost its original meaning, no doubt. But nonetheless, you need figures like Shakya Sri Bhadra, a great scholar, a great Pandita. So he's called Kache Panchen. So it says here, Jikten Sumgon actually tried to invite Shakya Sri Bhadra to come to Drikung. But Shakya Sri Bhadra's student called Vibutichandra, here called Vibuti. Vibutichandra said, Drikung has a lot of wealth. But these followers of Mahabudra, they are liars. He says, these followers of Mahamudra, they are all liars. So the implication is that, they have a lot of wealth because they lie to people. What do they lie to people about? They lie to people about realizations. Somehow they're able to impress people, that they have realized this level, this level, this level. So Vibhuti Chandra is basically saying, they are charlatans. That's why they have so much wealth. But his teacher Kache Panchen replied, Vibhuti, that cannot be so. Then he continued. He said, a disciple of the Drikungpa who came from Kam asked me for a robe. Even though I offered him cloth for a robe, he pulled at mine. So my disciple, Jose Nima, beat him and wounded him, causing him to shed blood. For 7 days after that, Tara didn't appear during my 7-branch prayer. I strongly supplicated her, and she finally showed me her back, but not her face. She was upset. When I asked her why, she said, you committed a great negative deed by abusing Nagarjuna's disciple. To purify that, you should distribute 100 Dharma robes to those monks who have none. So I did that. So you, Pandita, he's saying to his disciple Vibutichandra, you, Pandita, should purify your own bad karma of speech and build a temple of whatever kind you like. It says for accusing, Jikten Sumgon to be a charlatan. It says you have to do the following. So eventually, Vibutichandra himself went to Drikung. Still not convinced, actually went to Drikung. Here it doesn't say, but went to Drikung to prove, that Jikten Sumgon is a charlatan, to try to debate him, to try to pull him down, from his fame. But instead, he himself was so taken by Jikten Sumgon that he composed these verses of praise and offered to Jikten Sumgon. Then later at Simpuri Mountain, in the Drikung area, I believe, he built a Chakasambhara temple with an image of Chakasambhara, the height of his teacher, Kache Panchen. That image is called staying in space and has great power of blessings. Vibutichandra remained in Tibet for many years. So he lived in the Drikung area, close to where Jikten Sumgon is. On seeing the text fully clarifying the three vows, he understood the sequence of these vows and wrote a text of his own, saying, "Nowadays, following the Buddha's teachings regarding the different explanation of the three vows, which established them as victorious in all directions." Maybe the translation here is a little unclear. But basically what it's saying here is he saw later on, right? This is after Jikten Sumgon has passed away. How we know that is because this text called Fully Clarifying the Three Vows was composed by the great Sakyapa master, Sakyapandita. After the death of Jikten Sumgon, he wrote this thing called Clarifying the Three Vows, in which in there, in many parts of that text, he was criticizing, seemingly, Jikten Sumgon's views about the three vows. When we were studying Gongchik, we talked a lot about Sakyapandita's objections to the positions held by Jikten Sumgon. So what it's saying here is Vibutichandra saw that text, then he composed his own, meaning he didn't agree with that text. Now the significance here is Vibutichandra was the person, I believe, either Vibutichandra or his teacher, Shakya Shribhadra. I mean, both of them were invited to Tibet by Sakyapandita's family. And one of them, I believe, Vibutichandra, was the one that gave the monk's vows to Sakyapandita. So it is significant that here it says, Vibutichandra saw that text and then he didn't agree with it. So then he composed his own text about the relationship between the three vows. Which here is what is suggesting here in this quotation is he understood Jikten Sumgon's view on the three vows and he agreed with that one. So anyway, he translated many books from Sanskrit into Tibetan. End of this quote. Similarly, there are many other stories well known in Tibet and India referring to Nagarjuna's reincarnation as Jikten Sumgon. Around this time, the Naga king Sokma Me offered the fourth tooth of the Buddha to Jikten Sumgon. So here is this story that there are three tooth relics of the Buddha. Or altogether there were four, but three that we know of. So today, one is said to be in Beijing, in a monastery in Beijing, China. One is said to be in Sri Lanka, in Kandy, the old capital of Sri Lanka. One is said to have been taken to the God realms, and this is like the fourth one, according to some old legends. So it's said that this Naga king actually had the fourth one and gave it to Jikten Sumgon. So in the Karuna Pundarika Sutra, the Buddha is said to have told Ananda, after my passing, a place called Shinkung Kyewa will appear in the northern hemisphere. There, to honor my tooth, they will offer flowers, garlands, incense, ointments, music, parasols, banners, draperies, a victory throne, and other things, gold, cloth, silver, gold, and many other precious jewels. They will attend my tooth and regard it as a guru. Ananda, my stupa, will be adorned with gold. Ananda, many hundreds of monks with pure morality will appear at that place. And at that time there will also appear many lay practitioners with pure morality, learned, sincere, and strongly devoted to my teachings. Those lay people will respect, attend, and regard as gurus those who become monks within my path. So this is taken to be a prophecy about Drikung Valley, because of this fourth tooth that was supposedly given to Jikten Sumgon. As has been clearly prophesied, Jikten Sumgon said to Druptop Gar Choding, Druptop Gar Choding, today the Tulku lineage, the current Lama with that title, Gar Chen, is of course Gar Chen Rinpoche. So Gar Chen Rinpoche's Tulku lineage comes from this disciple of Jikten Sumgon, Gar Choding. So Jikten Sumgon said to Gar Choding, go to the Soksam bridge, make camp, and offer a torma to the Nagas there. You will receive special wealth. So Gar Choding went there, offered a torma to the Nagas, whereupon the Naga king Songmame offered him that fourth tooth of the Buddha and 3 special gems. So Gar Choding then brought that back to Drikung and offered this to Jikten Sumgon, who said, it is good to return wealth to its owner. As you are, and then he said to Gar Choding, as you are wealthy, build my image and put these inside. Put this tooth and the 3 special gems inside. This is the tradition of filling statues. Statues are often created hollow inside so that the insides can be filled with special things like this. Then over time, different traditions evolve so that today mostly what you put inside the statue has a central channel, and then on different levels of this central channel, different mantras related to body, speech, and mind, essentially, of the Buddha. Then different mantras of wealth, mantra of protection, mantra of dependent origination, mantra of the Dharma Dhatu, and so on and so forth. They are put inside statues. And so here Jikten Sumgon told Gar Choding, you put this Buddha's tooth and these 3 special gems that you got from that Naga king inside a statue of me. Go ahead and build this. So Druptop Ga invited artisans from China. They built a workshop below the monastery in Drikung and constructed an image of Jikten Sumgon out of many precious metals. And they also placed the Buddha's tooth inside this statue. Jikten Sumgon then consecrated this image hundreds of times. It was called the Dharma Lord of Serkhang and regarded as Jikten Sumgon himself. This image spoke to many of Jikten Sumgon's successors and to many shrine keepers. So Judy has seen this statue. This is in Drikung, still in the Golden Chapel. During the Cultural Revolution, it was hidden, buried underground. Then when conditions were much better, they were able to dig it back out. This happened in 1290 when the Mongols destroyed Drikung. Again, that was the first time probably they took this statue. It's a life-size statue. They took this statue, buried it in the ground, covered it up, ran away. And then when conditions were better, when they came back, they retrieved that statue. Then during Cultural Revolution in the 1960s, that happened again. They buried and then they took it back out. Later, when Drikung was destroyed, the image was buried in a large hill of sand. And when a search was made for it at the time of the monastery's restoration, it raised its hand out of the sand, saying, "Here I am." There's so many traditions of talking statues. Similarly, there are many other marvelous stories about this image. The Buddha made many prophecies concerning the holy place Charitra, which is called Devikota, the palace of Sri Chakasamvara. Once the Dakinis of Charitra brought an assembly of 2,800 enlightened deities of that place on a net of horsehair and presented them to Jikten Sumgon. He perceived each deity directly. And these 2,800 deities, so sort of a vision that he had. On the basis of that vision, then to commemorate the glorious Pamodrupa, he built an auspicious stupa. I talked about this stupa yesterday, or this type of stupa. So he built an auspicious stupa of 7 different precious materials with many doors. And specifically, having these 2,800 deities in this big stupa. Statues of deities arranged. At that time, 4,000 monks were gathered at Drikung. When Jikten Sumgon was 39, Drikung had 7,000 monks divided into 13 groups. By the time he was 48, the victory banner of practice was planted firmly on the pinnacle of samsara in Tibet. From the relative point of view, because so many disciples had gathered around him so that he had begun to feel crowded, and from the absolute point of view, in order to open a secret place and further establish the victory banner of practice, Jikten Sumgon went to Tsauk at the upper end of the valley in Drikung and opened the meditation caves of Dorje Lokar, Samadhi Cave, and so on. And he then practiced there. So the main area, the valley, had become too busy, too many people. So then he went further into more remote places in Drikung. From the guidebook to Lapchi, Lapchi is another sacred mountain. This sacred mountain is closer to the Nepal border. One night, to maintain the continuity of Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings, Jikten Sumgon brought about the subjugation of others, of the local deities there, and entered Samadhi for a moment. Immediately, the deity king of Mount Kailash, the protector of Lapchi, the protector of Tsari, 3 of these protector deities of the 3 great mountains, Mount Kailash, Lapchi, and Tsari, and many other protectors from Tibet gathered before him, bowed at his feet, and requested him to come to their places to serve as an object of refuge. At that moment, through his miracle power, he sent emanations of himself to each of their places and subdued the local deities and gave them teachings. In each place, these non-humans asked him to send lamas to be their guides. He agreed to send great hermit practitioners. So after Jikten Sumgon, left kind of the main area to go, to practice, his disciples, wanted him to come back because people were coming to Drikung because of him. And if he's not there, people stop coming. So they went to Tsauk, this mountain, and said, "Please come back." At that point, Jikten Sumgon sang the following song about remaining in solitude. He said, "My Guru ordered me to remain in solitude, to remain in retreat." So basically, in this song, which we can look at later on, he's saying that even though I have all these realizations, even though I have practiced to this point, that I don't need it myself, But my guru had ordered me to remain mostly in retreat, and so I'm going to do this. And his point is two things. When you have found, this kind and skillful teacher, guru, then you have to follow what they say. Specifically, all their instructions to practice. Even when you have realized the practices, you remain committed to practicing them for the benefit of others. So finally, the reason why he left and that it got crowded is mostly because people who came to him after a while, instead of practicing, they all just gathered together all the time, socializing, so to say, engaging in what we may call Dharma chit-chat. Pointless talk, debate, trying to outdo each other in talking about, before I came here, I studied with this, I studied with that, I went here, I went there, I received this transmission, I received that transmission, that kind of, which to this day you sometimes find at Dharma centers, that time, when we were with so-and-so, Rinpoche, that teacher, la la la, this, that, all this kind of Dharma chit-chat. And so he decided, I need to, do something. So he left. So they came and they said, please come back, please come back. Then finally he said, okay. And now in the next page, he says, either you all go into the mountains and retreat and I come back to the monastery, or I go into the mountain and you hang out in the monastery. You choose. So finally they got it. They're like, okay, please come back. And we will go into retreat. He says, good. Then he went back to Drikung, to the monastery. So on 3 occasions, the chief disciples who have finished their preliminary practices and realized the nature of their mind. Realizing nature of mind is not the end, it's the beginning of serious practice. Before that, you have not directly seen the nature of your mind. You have not been directly introduced to it. So you are doing the preliminary, so to say. So it's not just the set of practices that we call preliminaries that are preliminary. Basically, any and all practices, including seemingly Mahamudra practices, any and all practices that are done before this glimpse of nature of mind, according to the Mahamudra system, they are all preliminaries. And of course, Jikten Sumgon says the preliminaries are at the heart of the practice. But here it's saying these chief disciples have successfully recognized the nature of mind. Then at that point, Jikten Sumgon sent them to these 3 holy places. Because the idea is this, until then, they should stick around where Jikten Sumgon is in order to have more opportunities to be introduced to the nature of their mind. When we say more opportunities to be introduced to the nature of mind, we're not saying that the teacher is somehow stingy, is not giving enough opportunity. What we're saying is the disciple is not ready yet. And that means the teacher is always trying, or a good teacher is always trying to find every opportunity to show the way. But students are not ready. And so then you cannot take advantage of that. There might be sometimes, I think, some cultural differences and therefore potentially cultural misunderstandings that arise from this. I'm not talking about even. I'm not even talking about the introduction to nature of mind. I'm talking about when a teacher, for whatever reason, knows some things. And that knowing, I also don't want it to sound so like, how other religions maybe talk about their God knowing everything. Maybe not that kind of knowing. But enough of knowing that a teacher may say something. It'll be good, to dot dot dot. It'll be good to come to that teaching. And then people don't catch, And in part, this is the style of instruction, meaning you cannot force. And of course, you say, well, it's not forcing if you say to me, you should really come. Actually, this is, from a Dharma context in a way, it's already forcing. If you don't catch yourself, what has been hinted at, sometimes people are like, oh, I feel this, I feel that, and and the teacher may say, might be good to dot dot dot, and they don't catch, they think, no, or the guru will say, you should come, to there's something for you, even that, and they don't. Instead, it will be something like, how about next week? Can I get it next week instead? It's different if I tell you, I have some lo mian that I made, and do you want to eat? You're like, oh, maybe not, that's fine, But if it is a Dharma thing, before you immediately answer, so maybe next week. You could have broken some interdependence there. Yeah. So before you are so quick to practice some restraint, don't answer yet. At least with like, oh, I'm busy. Then, see, that interdependence. It's like, okay, then you will always be busy. This is how it works, If your answer is, oh, I'll be busy, I can't, then this pattern will deepen and deepen and deepen and deepen. It's not a punishment. No one has any power to punish anyone. It's just the interdependences that have been created. If instead your answer is, oh, and sincere, I'll let me see if I can, whether it's because you are already committed to something, or if you're feeling really tired and all of that, and sometimes that is how you're going to break that pattern. But if you don't pick up on that, that's what we call not ready. Also, not your fault that you don't pick up on that. That's why samsara remains samsara, nirvana is not so easy to achieve. Because the nature of confusion is confusion compounds. When it rains, it pours, Or we say, you fall from the ladder and then you get crushed by the ladder. It's a Malay saying, But that's the nature of how... And sometimes people, even if the teacher give a little bit more and hint and say, if you're not sure, you ask, then they come and they ask, does it mean I should, and then still cannot read, what the teacher is saying. Then it's like, it's very hard, So I'll be honest to say, I have seen a lot. But we cannot force people into growing. I've seen many times things like this. And then whatever it is that the obstacle is will just increase and continue. And when doors are open for you to break that, and you don't enter, then no one's going to shove you. Anyway, coming back here, it says, so he sent them to the three holy places. The first time, under Geshe Ngepuwa, 80 were sent to Mount Kailash, 80 to Tsari, and 80 to Lapchi. So there were 240. Jikten Sumgon said, "All you disciples, my sons, don't wander or be attached to leisure. Persevere in your practice in retreat. Don't return here until you have achieved special realization. With patience, bring suffering and unfavorable conditions into your practice." He himself suffered a lot, with leprosy. But he pushed through it. That's what I mean by pushing through it, All phenomena depend upon causes and effects. So be careful of your karma. Be careful of your actions. As I said before, and last night we talked about this. This cause and effect, sometimes we only limit it to what we recognize as moral ethical matters. Of course, moral ethical matters, very obvious. That operates, in the way that karma operates. But karma and disciplined conduct goes beyond. It includes, but it goes beyond things with moral ethical implications. With obvious moral ethical implications. It goes beyond that. It goes to things like habit forming. It goes to things like breaking habits. It goes to subtle ways of behaving. So that's why they say, like a fully awakened being knows the different results that will unfold with something as simple as, whether I place, say this lighter, up like that or lay it down like that. They have their respective playing out. Right now, I have no idea what difference it is. Whether I put it straight up or I put it down. Laying on the table. Because I cannot see, how these two scenarios are going to play out. But a fully awakened being can see. And so then the rules, for example, in the Vinaya, why monks and nuns, should restrain themselves from doing this or that. There are the clearly moral, ethical things that easy for us to understand. Don't steal, don't kill, don't lie. We can see that. But then there are many details in a monastic conduct that we cannot see how it all plays out. Then sometimes, myself included, we kind of we underestimate the significance of these prescriptions or proscription, and we too quickly say, "Oh, it's a cultural thing," as if it doesn't apply to us. It does apply, but it's subtle, So be very careful of your actions, karma. If doubts or unhappiness arise, supplicate the Guru. In this way, he sent the first group. In the area of Ngamsho, where his guru's monastery is, people were unhappy. Jikten Sumgon went there with 300 disciples and stayed at the 3 snow mountains of Chewa, at the plain of Lochu, at Tilma, and other places. Through his motivation and prayers, local quarrels were pacified for 18 years. He provided the wealth to repair Samye Monastery, which had fallen into decline. Samye is remembered as the first monastery established in Tibet during the time of Guru Rinpoche. So Jikten Sumgon had enough wealth, to contribute to the renovation, repair of Samye. He was then invited to Dakla Gampo, Gampopa's monastery. And there, the head lamas, Dakpo Duzin. Dakpo Duzin is the name of this lama there, which means he is the holder of the monastic ordination at Dakpo, Gampopa's monastery. Dakpo Duzin and other great teachers there received teachings from Jikten Sumgon and asked to be placed under his authority. So here, His Holiness quotes the Blue Annals, which is an independent source, not a Drikung source, an independent history book. And there it says, although he didn't accept the seat, so they offered basically Gampopa's monastery to Jikten Sumgon. Although he didn't accept the seat, he made a great offering to Dakpo Duzin and said, only you can hold this seat. Only you can sit on this throne. So you must govern this monastery. And the Lord Drikungpa gave much wealth to build Takpo Chama Lungsha and other temples in that area. At that time, there was a great famine in Dakpo. A gold coin could buy only 7 measures of barley, and many people ate the flesh of the dead. So then he gave a lot of money there to help the local people. If Jikten Sumgon had only a piece of fruit to eat, it would become larger through the Buddha's blessings. Because of this, he became famous. This is like Jesus feeding the masses. He was invited to Lower Dakpo, where people respectfully gathered around him and made inconceivable offerings. He was then invited back to Dakla Gampo by Dakpo Duzin and was again offered the seat. Dakpo Duzin also offered him a rosary of 100 gold coins. Jikten Sumgon went into retreat there for 3 months and supplicated an image of Lord Gampopa from which light streamed forth, illuminating the entire region of Dakpo. For 7 days, people could not distinguish day from night. Many yakshas, local spirits, and Dharma protectors made offerings of wealth, filling the entire area of Gampo. To relieve the drought, people made offerings for the first part of their tsampa to Jikten Sumgon and asked him to provide rain. And so even though they themselves don't have any, the best part of what they have, they offered to Jikten Sumgon and asked Jikten Sumgon to provide rain. He brought the food to the image. He brought these offerings that the villagers brought to the image of Gampopa and said, please don't let me be embarrassed, kind of in a joking mood. Immediately there was a great rainfall, and that year the country of Dakpo had its best harvest of barley. In this way, Jikten Sumgon's unsurpassable great kindness, through that, the people there were safe from famine. Probably it was also there where he composed this praise of Gampopa, which we have translated and is in the red Pecha volume. The praise to Gampopa. I've also shared it before to DDIS, the praise to Gampopa. Beautiful praise to Gampopa. Once Lama Shangtselpa said, the Lama Drikungpa, the Lama Surpupa, and I will be invited by the Dakinis of Odiyana. Lama Shang Tselpa is an older Lama in the Kagyu family. Lama Drikungpa, Jikten Sumgon. Lama Surpupa is the first Karmapa. So Lama Shang is predicting. He was like a disciple of Gampopa's disciple, older than Jikten Sumgon. So he predicted, he says, this year we have to go. Because the Dakinis of Odiyana is inviting us to leave. He says, but the Drikungpa, who is a master of interdependent origination, he need not go. But the two of us, we have to go. Himself and the first Karmapa. So Jikten Sumgon heard what Lama Shang Tselpa said. That year, Lama Shang Tselpa and Dusung Khenpa passed away. One morning, when Jikten Sumgon was in his room at glorious Park Dru, the Dakinis formed a reception line that stretched from Park Dru all the way to Odiyana. That long line of Dakinis came to invite him, so to say. Leave. Come to the Dakini Pure Land. Immediately he performed a special meditation. His body transformed itself clearly into Chakasamvara, Sri Heruka, the Lord of those Dakinis, and he made the mudra of subjugation. In this way, he held them back. He subjugated them. Then, instead of the Dakinis taking him away, they built a lion throne, and lion throne is a symbol of stability. And they say, please be seated. So then they prayed for Jikten Sumgon's longevity. And so all this happened as predicted by Lama Shang Tselpa. Lama Shang Tselpa was a very powerful Lama during that time. In fact, he apparently had a military, and people were afraid of him. A very different kind of character from Jikten Sumgon, as far as you could tell when you read their biographies. Lama Shang Tselpa was feared by people. But nonetheless, he was one of Gampopa's successors. Jikten Sumgon seems the opposite. But they were friends. This tells us, the different styles of the Lamas, as personal styles, but they recognize each other's attainments. Yeah? At Drikung Til, the number of monks was steadily increasing. Nyo Gyalwa Lanangpa made an offering of brown sugar to them and made 1,700 offerings of different kinds of wealth to Jikten Sumgon. And this was the one who eventually went to Bhutan and established some monastery there. This is the one that I said one time when he gave an offering, sending a caravan of yaks. And so from Bhutan, southern Tibet, all the way to central Tibet, it said that when the first yak has arrived in Drikung, the last yak has not left Bhutan yet. That's how much offerings that he sent to his guru, to his Lama. At that time, Chenga Sherab Jungne counted those who were assembled when Nyo Gyalwa Lanangpa made offering, and found that there were 55,525 monks present. And that many. So we will stop here today. And then we continue whenever. We will have a break for a while because I get on the road tomorrow. And we'll be traveling. I come back on January 23rd. But whenever, if there's any possibility of doing these morning practices, I will try to get the word out. Otherwise, you'll have a good holiday and all that. And see you towards the end of January, especially if you are coming to Asheville in person. I'll see you then. If not, I'm sure I'll see some of you between now and then. At some point, we'll see everyone. We make that aspiration. Changchu sem chorin puche ma ge ba nam ge gyurje ge ba nyam pa me ba yang gong ne gong du be war shu.
Safe travels, Dorje Lopon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Gracias, Dr. Lai.
Thank you, Dr. Lai.